Hey guys, can you hear me? Rocket, no. Oh, Rocket said hello, everybody. I'm trying out a new mic and hopefully the background noise isn't too bad. Let me know, guys. Rocket, hush. Of course, besides Rocket's barking, he said, I want to be a part of the show today. Oh, I've missed you guys so much. Excuse me. I am still getting over this cold. My voice is not 100% yet. But I've missed you guys, and I've been dying to go live, but with the kiddos being sick, it hasn't worked out. Hey, Care Bear. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Aesop. Hey, Tia. How are you guys? I'm hoping that the mic doesn't pick up the crickets in the background. I just bought some new ones for our dragons. So, like, I have like 150 crickets in a tote, and they can be very, very loud. The things you live with for your for your pets. Yay! Hi, stranger. Thank you. Rocket apparently wants to be part of the show today. All right. So last Friday, and I'm also not going on cam today because I look like crap. I have no lashes on. I'm taking a break from the extensions that I usually get. For some reason, the glue. Oh, Rocket, you okay? The glue that they've been using, my extensions have been falling off within a week. I'm left with like massive spots that need filling, and I've been having to go and get my lashes filled every week, and that's not normal. I'm not a heavy makeup wearer. I do wash my face, but I don't like scrub my eyelashes crazy or anything like that. So my lashes should literally be lasting 2 to 3 weeks. And I've never had a problem with that before. And now all of a sudden, with this glue lately, they're just falling off. I don't get it, and I'm tired of spending money on it because I'm going every week, spending $100-something a week, and they're falling off. So I don't know if I'm gonna see if I can research and get my own lash extension glue and bring that, because I really do like the tech that I have, and I don't think it's her fault. I think maybe the company's gotten cheaper with the glue they use or something. So maybe she'll let me bring my own glue and I can continue using her, or I might just have to find a different place. So I am like Bear. I look like a neck and mole rat. Rocket, you can't be a part of the show. No, you cannot be a part of the show. Don't you talk back. Stop talking back. Don't you talk back. Rocket. Rocket ship. Go wake up your brother and go play. Sorry, guys. Oh my god. At least he's cute, right? Get over here. Come here. Hey, Sierra, will you come play with Rocket for a minute? Apparently, he wants to be on live with YouTube right now. You hear him talking back, stranger? He's like, don't you tell me what to do, mama. That's because the other dogs are sleeping, and he's like, no, it's time to get up and party. Mama's on live. He acts like he don't get no attention. So, and here's just a warning, guys. Ava is still really sick. I've been doing neb treatments with her. But if she does wake up, I'll just have to just go check on her real quick and make sure she's good. So Just the usual mommy duties, doodles, duties. I can't talk today. All right, so last Friday we talked about Goatman's Bridge, and we found out, we talked about the very fishy, right, Aesop? We talked about the very fishy murder of, oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking on his name. Give me 1 second, I'll pull it up. Lermont Stowers. So we talked about the death of him. Yeah, Washburn is the legend, but the teenager is Lermont Stowers Jones. He was the one with the very, very strange death. How his body disappeared for 16 hours. Like, but I really do think Washburn, like, either showed his body to whoever found him and caused them to like bring in the search party to look for him, or I don't know. It's just so weird. I don't understand how a body could disappear for 16 hours. Like you call the family and you tell them, hey, we need you to come identify your son. And then you call them back and say, wait, we can't find his body. And then 16 hours later, you find it right next to the bridge where it was supposed to be. So, and it's not like they were like in the water or something like that. And like he like floated away or something with the current. So it's still really fishy to me. And I've been trying to look more into it, but there's nothing I found. I found just basically they released the autopsy, which of course, no surprise there. Medical examiner office released its autopsy report and toxicology results, revealing for the first time an official account of what caused the teenager's death. Authorities wrote their report that Stowers Jones died from drowning and marked his case as accidental. The key findings of the report show his lungs were overcome by fluid, presumably water. Yeah, but like my whole thing is, okay, so here's this is a good article. So how we were talking about, like, it just seems weird that he would just walk there by himself and then just jump off the bridge just for the hell of it. So this article says his parents said they were rattled not only by his passing, but also the setting of his death, because they said it was uncharacteristic of him to be adventurous enough to jump from an old country bridge into a creek. Okay, so, this says there was people with him. Amplifying their grief, the family learned that at least one person who was with Stowers Jones when he reportedly jumped into the creek fled the scene when Stowers Jones sunk below the surface of Hickory Creek. Another person stayed behind and tried to help Stowers Jones. So, okay, if there were people there, then why did they not get help? So if somebody was there and they said they tried to get help, I don't know. That's weird. I don't know. I don't feel good vibes from this at all. Like, I do not have good vibes at all from this. It's just weird to me. Of course, the family said that the autopsy report does not provide them with much comfort. His parents said he knew how to swim, and the toxicology report showed there was an unspecified amount of tetrahydrocannabinol, which is the main psychoactive component of marijuana, which, okay, what the hell does that have to do with anything? Marijuana is not going to make anybody just jump into a creek for the hell of it. And then the family says, we won't likely ever know what happened to Lermont. Like, that's just so sad. And they have to just live with that, not even knowing that they'll never get justice for their boy. That just infuriates me. None of it sounds truthful. Like, you have kids there and then one kid takes the fuck off. Well, I'm sorry, teenager. Like, at 17, 18, you're old enough to know how to call the cops. You're old enough to call 911. You're old enough, if you don't want to call the cops, to call a parent and be like, oh my God, mom, what do I do? Which, if you were my mom, I'd be like, get the fuck off the phone with me and call 911. I know my daughter knows how to react in a situation like that. Like, if she's seen somebody go under the water and not come back up, she's going to call 911. She's going to call for help. I feel like most 16, 17, 18-year-olds would do that. So for one kid to leave the scene and one kid to supposedly stay, I don't know. I feel like maybe there's more to the story. And like we know, there's a lot of racial tension down here. And there's a big racial history with murders at this bridge. So I don't know. But let's see. I forgot to bring these up, guys. I think I have these pictures on my Facebook because I wanted to show you guys the pictures that I took when we went to Goatman's Bridge. I think I have them in an album. I'm just looking. 1 second. Wonder if it's in the fall album. Gosh, I post way too many damn photos. It's always my kids. I'm that obsessive mama. I'm always posting pictures of my babies. I don't do it as much as I used to. But little Miss Ava, she used to, well, the boys did too, but they used to all model for okay, yeah, Tia. So we kind of discussed it on the first Goatman's live, but let me pull it up and I can read off some of it to you. Oh, my ears are ringing. Who's talking about me? That's not it. Let me pull it up here. Okay, here's a good site with some pictures. Hang on, let me share my screen. Where'd it go? Are you loading? No, I don't want a free book. There we go. Hang on 1 second, guys. I swear I'm always losing my phone. I want to make sure. I always feel paranoid, so I always put on YouTube on my phone so I can make sure things are showing like they're supposed to be showing. Okay. So here's some photos. And you can see this is the plaque I was kind of talking about last time. Where's the X? Oh, come on. This site does not like me. There we go. I didn't click on that photo. There we go. So you can still see, like, it's very much a older bridge, and of course they fixed it up to make it stable for like people and stuff to go on it. But there's no way, I couldn't even imagine having to drive on that boat or drive through there on a car. Oh yeah, and then like now look at this creek. I don't know, does this creek look like it's enticing to dive in? You see, like, in, you have to think, in Texas we don't get a lot of I mean, we have our rainy times, but a lot of, like, we have a lot of droughts, and we've been in a drought on and off for, gosh, since I've been here, and I moved here in 2010. And I just don't see a teenager going, oh yeah, I'm going to jump off here into this nasty, murky water that I don't know how deep it is. No, you can't drive on it anymore, stranger. They have it so, like, where all this like gravel and stuff is, this all leads to trails. And you see here someone wrote Goatman's Bridge, and then it has the date of 1887 on it. Like, creepy. So, like, kind of like you can see through this gate here, or, well, not the gate, the railing. That's the main road. And then there's like a parking area and walking trail that leads you up to the bridge. And then past the bridge is more walking trails. And it's like just all around those woods are walking areas. Right? It's like you can look at it and it does not look enticing to jump in. And like you can look at all this graffiti and stuff, and like when you're there, it's just so much creepier because you see all the pentagrams and Star of Davids, because people are stupid and don't know how to draw a pentagram. Okay, I think that was it. So yeah, so Tia, so this bridge, I'm trying to pull up the link, or I had read the story so I can actually read the story again for you guys. And then I can kind of go back through the history real quick. Is this it? Sorry, guys. I had this. I don't know why I'm having a hard time finding the same one that I had pulled up. Okay, so this one I think kind of gives a good little history about it too. Actually includes some that we didn't hear last time. Right, Tammy? Like, with as much creepy shit and like as much graffiti and all that. So they have like rules that they say that you have to follow, like the trails and stuff. It closes at dusk, and they have like a thing where they rope off the parking area. But people don't follow that. They just park somewhere else and walk over there. Especially kids. Like, come on. Hi, Ari. How are you? Sorry, guys. I know it's a little late. I was hoping to get on earlier, but I was just kind of... It was my own fault, too, because I fell asleep when I got home with the boys, and my husband got home because Ava had a really rough night, so I was tired. Me and her laid down and took a nap. All right, so the historic Old Alton Bridge, which is also called the Goatman's Bridge, which connects the towns of Denton and Copper Canyon, has a complex and haunted history. From tragic and riveting tales of murder to the somewhat vague stories of a ghostly goat herder, it's sure to give you the chills if you ever visit. Heading out there after dark probably isn't advisable in any case. The bridge was built in 1884 by the King Iron Manufacturing Bridge Company. Its original purpose was to carry horses and automobiles across the river. Though it is called the Old Alton Bridge, the community of Alton had already dispersed by 1884. Denton County itself was formed in 1846, and the first attempt at settling the county seat was Pinckneyville, named for the Texas governor. However, water shortages forced politicians to move 2 years later. In 1848, the new town site was located on a high ridge between Pecan Creek and Hickory Creek and was also called Alton. Their luck with this second town site was also short-lived. In 1850, they moved once more to a location 5 miles from present-day Corinth. This attempt was more successful. The Hickory Creek Baptist Church was organized in 1855, and by 1856, there were several buildings, including a school and a saloon. However, the county seat was moved once more in 1857 to Denton. The post office closed forever in 1859. Today, the Baptist Church and the Alton Cemetery are all that remains of the Alton Village. The bridge was built 25 years later and dubbed the Old Alton Bridge. It didn't earn the Goatman title until half a century later, when an African American named Oscar Washburn settled in the area. His living was raising and selling goats. He was successful, and most of the community was supportive and friendly toward Washburn and his family. But unfortunately, the local Ku Klux Klan was not so pleased. Washburn had posted a sign on the bridge which read, "This way to the Goatmans." This action angered members of the Klan, and on a fateful night in August of 1938, they drove their cars across the bridge with their headlights off, took Washburn from his home and family, and dragged him to the bridge. The legend goes that they then fitted a noose over his head and threw him over the side of the bridge. But when they looked to see whether he was dead, his body had disappeared. They returned to his home and slaughtered his family, according to the legend. Washburn was never seen or heard from again. Or was he? And of course, the other one that we had talked to about last Friday, it kind of went into a little bit more in depth with the lore or the legend, and that like they went down to go see if they could find his body, and his body was missing, which is why I said that the current case with the Lamont Jones is just really just gives me the chills. So this talks about another legend though too. It says a similar tale to Washburn's predates the building of the bridge, in which a group of cowboys lynched a goat herder called Jack Kendall. Supposedly this was near the location of the bridge. The legend goes that Kendall's body reanimated through the power of voodoo, ripped off the head of a nearby goat, and replaced his head with the goat's as the astonished cowboys watched in horror. Whether it's Washburn or Kendall haunting the bridge, lots of strange things have happened around the Alton Bridge. Travelers say that if you cross the bridge without your headlights, the Goatman will meet you on the other side. There have been reports of abandoned cars with no sign of their occupants, vehicles breaking down, or car doors locking and unlocking of their own accord, and some people have heard hoofbeats around the bridge. One of the most disturbing variations of bridge experiences tells of a man waiting on the other side of the bridge with a goat head under each arm. Some people have seen a half-man, half-goat figure, similar to a satyr. This old account of after-death transformation, if this is indeed the Goatman, bears some semblance to the tale of the Donkey Lady Bridge or La Llorona. Gosh, I can never do my rolling L's. La Llorona. I'm horrible. I know. Y'all can roast me. It's okay. Some folks believe that Satanists have performed dark rituals on the bridge and opened a portal to another dimension. There have also been reports of inhuman screams coming from the nearby woods, or maniacal laughter sounding. On Halloween, if you go to the bridge and honk your horn twice, you may see the fiery red eyes of the Goatman. There are no definitive records of Washburn or Kendall, but as a Denton local said, that doesn't mean it's not haunted. The bridge is 7 miles south of Denton if you ever get the urge to visit. Just keep your headlights on and don't knock on the bridge unless you want to visit with the Goatman. So, that's kind of like a, excuse me, a little quick redo of the legend. And the other thing about when I was looking it up is they said that the bridge was a hot spot for the KKK, and they would often hang their murdered black men on the bridge. And so it was a very popular lynching site for the KKK. So you can just think about that energy, and it's, yeah, how could it not be haunted? How could you not get all these creepy ass vibes? So when I went in 2020, it was October time, right around Halloween. And we were just kind of really into Halloween that year. Like, our house was decorated so freaking awesome. We had a murder scene. I made the front of the house look like we were like Satanists. I had goats and like certain symbols on the walls. And like, I had to keep telling Jared whenever he was trying to draw this stuff, I was like, don't complete the circle. I'm like, it's okay to draw the symbol as long as you don't complete the circle. And I'm like, and you have to make sure, your intentions are good. And now my husband, I've told you guys that he's very he believes, but he doesn't believe. He's seen things in our own home. He's seen an old lady twice in our hallway. But even with him seeing the apparition with his own two eyes and having odd things happen to him in the bedroom, Rocket, hush. He still tries to be very, I don't know if it exists. Hang on one second, y'all. I'm going to put Rocket on the couch so she can lay down. I swear I got some spoiled ass animals. Mommy, come tuck me in. Right, Erie? I would freak the hell out too. But I have to say, if they still had the ability for you to drive on that bridge, my dumb ass would totally go and do it just to go and do it. So when we were doing our house decorating for Halloween and stuff, I had done some symbols on the house because what we did is we had black lights, and I used that like black light spray stuff, and I would I did a bunch of like satanic symbols, which is not a big deal. It's all about your intent. And my intention, I did not intend to like summon anything or nothing like that. And I didn't complete any of the actual symbols. Well, my lovely husband, while he's helping me through, do all this, he's kind of laughing and joking and making a, game out of it or whatever. So we had the house decorated. No big deal. Like we had people were stopping by. Like it looked sick. I had a murder scene in the front yard with the lawnmower and body parts. Yeah, I love Halloween. We have a speed limit sign that's like next to our sidewalk. So we bloodied that up, like looking like somebody like got hit in the road. I'll have to show you pictures next time I get on, stranger. Yes, Erie, I have been, which is where some weird things happen, and then like after we visited was the weirdest kind of thing that happened. Sorry, guys. I may have to get a cough drop. So when we went, it was around Halloween time. And it was in the daytime. It was kind of one of those just gloomy days. It was like not raining, but like sprinkly, where it just kind of spits nonstop at you. It's just like you're always walking through a cloud of water. Real gloomy, just that kind of perfect. No, you're okay, Erie. So I was just like, yeah, let's go. Like, this is the perfect weather and everything. And I was psyched because I had heard about this bridge so much that I was just like, oh yeah, we're gonna like, it's gonna be like so cool to see it. So unfortunately, when we got there, it was really busy. It is a very popular spot for photographers, a very popular spot for hikers, joggers, and then it's a popular spot for people that just want to come and creep around and see if they can catch anything. But even with it being like that busy, like it still just had like the weirdest vibe. And the vibe itself, I didn't necessarily get when we were on the bridge. But when we stepped off the bridge and started to go through the woods on the trails is when I started getting creeped out. And I had opened a app on my phone, a spirit box app, which sometimes they can be reliable, sometimes they're not. The one I use is used by a few groups that I follow, and it seems pretty accurate. But like I kind of tried to make myself closed off as I could because I didn't want anything to be like, ooh, let's go follow her because, she can try to communicate with us. And so I stayed closed off as much as I could, but it was so hard to with the crazy vibes that we were getting. Even the kids were kind of like looking around and like staying close to us. And Ava, she was only about a year then. So she was just a little tiny old thing. And she was just like, normally she wants to run and go explore. And she's been that way since she could walk. And this time she was like clinging to me or Jared, or she wanted to be carried nonstop. But as like we're going through, we weren't really by anybody. We were just kind of on this parts of the trail by ourselves. And I kept hearing things in the woods. And I kept just like telling myself, okay, well, there's a ton of people here. It's got to be like them. And I kept feeling like something was behind me, and not feeling like I knew something was behind me. Like I felt it. But I felt it not just behind me, but it was like all around me. It's the hardest thing to describe. And so like I kept looking all around. I mean, I probably looked like one of those paranoid crackheads you see at the gas station where they're spinning in circles and shit. But that's like that's what I felt like. And of course, Jared, like when I'm like, do you feel that? And asking him a question, he's like, he brushes everything off. Oh, no, crazy wife. And I had my spirit box going, and I wasn't getting anything. I was asking questions. And then I got evil and choked. Those were the only 2 words that came through on my spirit box. That's it. The entire time we were there, those were the only 2 words that came through. So instantly after choke came through, I closed that shit out, put it in my pocket, and was like, okay, let's go explore the bridge again. So we walked back towards the bridge area, and like, of course, under the bridge and everything is just very graffitied, and there's a lot more satanic symbols and ritual symbols. And that's what people say, is that a lot of people go here to do rituals, and not only in the bridge, but in the woods and things like that. Now, Ghost Adventures and BuzzFeed Paranormal, or BuzzFeed Super, I think it's BuzzFeed Supernatural, it's called, something like that. They both also went to the Goatman's Bridge. Ghost Adventures, I'm trying to think which year it was. No, Tammy, spirit boxes are real. Oh yeah, most definitely. Now, a lot of times the cell phone ones aren't necessarily legit. And I think sometimes it might be harder for them to try to come through on cell phones because there's a lot more technology there. I really do like raw spirit boxes better. Or you can just literally use a radio yourself. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of different things you can use to communicate. The only thing is, like, when you're using them to communicate, you have to understand that you're basically inviting and allowing whatever it is. Like, you're inviting that conversation, you're inviting that person to kind of, or spirit or entities to not always attach to you, but you're kind of, whenever you do anything with a spirit or spirits, you're opening yourself up to anything that's out there, unless you firmly put different boundaries in place, protections, things like that. There are things you can do to protect yourself. It's just most people don't know those things, and it's not until after they have an attachment or their whole house is freaking haunted that they're like, oh my God, what do I do? And then people are like, well, why is your house haunted? And they're like, oh, well, I've been playing with the Ouija board, or, oh, I've been, communicating with whatever's in my house. Like, if your house is ever haunted, a lot of times people will like use spirit boxes to find out more, but what they really do is they open it up to become even more active. And sometimes it's, a haunting will get bad no matter what, because they're doing it because there's a reason. They want to be acknowledged. They want to talk to somebody. And so they'll get even more and more and more aggressive. So after the day that we were at Goatman's Bridge, that night we came home. Everything was okay. It was around, I think, like bath time, bedtime. And sorry guys, it's been a while since I even thought about this whole thing. Something happened. I don't even remember like the full details of what started this this argument, this fight. But basically, Jared like said something to Zach, and I didn't like the way he was like trying to, because Zach has a lot of sensory stuff and whatnot, and so I was like, I didn't like the way he was trying to like get him to calm down or something. And so I was like, you need to try to do it this way, blah blah. And it just straight like just triggered a huge fight. And yeah, me and my husband, like we always fought things like that, but we had never ever been physical with each other, ever. And this night, it just got so bad. And trigger warning, just in case, I don't want to trigger anybody. But basically, my husband put his hands on me, and he had never done that ever before. And when he did it, I didn't even recognize him. His eyes were just totally black. And I was just like, I didn't know who he was. Of course, that kind of started a whole nother path to like talking about divorce and him. I kicked him out of the house because I did call the cops. And this lovely, amazing officer told me that because I didn't lose consciousness, that my husband didn't choke me. It wasn't considered choking, even though his hands were on my throat. Now, what did I get on the spirit box? Choked. And I didn't think about that until way like a while after the whole incident. But when it happened, it was just like, it kind of threw our whole family into just chaos, because I called the cops, and the cops were just awful to me. They treated me like shit. And the cop was just, he was asking, because at the time, like, my husband smoked weed. And I don't care what people say. To me, weed's not like a bad drug. It's a plant, and I think it should be legalized everywhere. Which, granted, no, weed is not legal in Texas, so technically it was against the law, whatever. But like, the cop was asking me, like, well, do you do any drugs or anything like that? And I was like, no, I'm in recovery. I'm 6 months sober, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, okay. What are you? He asked me, like, what am I clean from? And I told him, like, I didn't hide anything. I was very open about it, because I was proud of my recovery, and I didn't think it was anything I should hide, because I realized I needed help, and I put myself into rehab. I wasn't court ordered. I wasn't forced into it. I didn't lose my children, like, a lot of other people. And I'm not saying that that's like bad either. Like, some people, they have to be ordered to get help, and that's okay too. Sometimes you have to really, really get that rock bottom, to realize you need help. And like, so I talked to the officer and everything, and Jared was out of the house at that time, and we were literally like, he wasn't allowed near me. I was going to put an emergency protection order on him, to keep him away from me and the kids and stuff, which I've gotten a lot of heat about this. But basically, he ended up going through anger management classes. He stayed out of the house for a couple months. And if he hadn't done the classes, and if he hadn't looked into getting help and things like that, we wouldn't be together still. but we decided to work on our marriage because I wasn't innocent in that. I hit him back that day. Um, Big difference though is he's way larger than me and a lot stronger than me. But either way, hitting is hitting and it's not right. Um, but that's always been one of my things where I never put up with that ever. So it was just weird because when it was happening, like he was just not himself, and he just I didn't recognize him. He just totally, his eyes were literally black. Um, and I still really, really think that what happened that night has a lot to do with us visiting the bridge. And I don't know if it's a coincidence, but I don't believe in coincidences. I just think it's weird because we've never had an incident in our marriage like that ever. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, like a fight leads to physical. And then we've never had a fight after that. So, yeah, it's just the whole thing just started hell. The cop that responded, he called CPS and lied to CPS and told them that I told the cop that I was an active drug user. And so the next day I was like driving around. I had to go do something, and I get a phone call back to back to back. And I finally answer the number because I'm like, who the frick is this? And it's a CPS lady, and she's like, where are you? And I'm like, in my car. I need to see you now and your children. Are your children with you? Like being a total bitch to me. Like, and I'm like, yeah, like, okay, I'll be home soon, blah, blah. So I get home. She comes here, looks through my house, sees that the kids have beds, they have rooms, we have food, we have water, we have power. I told her, like, look, at the time I was still getting drug tested monthly because I was on medication assisted treatment at the time. And in order to be on medication assisted treatment, you have to pass a drug test every month to make sure you're taking your meds like you're supposed to, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, look, I'm like, here's my doctor. I can get you every one of my piss tests. I'm like, I'll take a piss test right now. You want to go get one? Like, come on. I'm, clean, and I'm proud to be clean. Thank you, Tia. I'm glad that, we were able to get things through because I feel like it's made us a lot stronger. Um, and for me, like, we made vows, and sorry, Roxy's shaking. It's like I look at my marriage as I'm going to fight and fight until, before anything happens, until I give up or wash my hands of it. And he's the same way. So I don't want my children to grow up in a broken home. I don't want them to grow up in like a horrible home with fighting and things like that, which is why, like, he went to anger management, and then we tried out couples counseling and all kinds of crap. But thank you, Tia. I really appreciate that. So the CPS lady is like, okay, we got to put a safety plan in place. You have to have, if he comes over to see the kids, you have to have somebody that's there to mediate, basically be our babysitter, and just put these stupid rules in place. He wasn't allowed to stay in the house. And we went through that for like about a week and a half, where it was like constant contact and like things like that. And so Jared had to submit to a drug test. And we were like, okay, just let us know when you want us to go take the drug tests and things. And she kind of just ghosted. And we didn't hear nothing back from her. And we're like, okay. So it wasn't until, and this is October, it wasn't until the end of, I want to say it was almost the end of December that she finally got it to where she had Jared go take a drug test. And we explained to her, at the time my husband was a heavy smoker, like heavy. And he had been smoking since he was 12, 13. And we learned in rehab too that sometimes it can take up to 90 days for THC to clear your system. And, we were kind of worried about that because he was such a heavy user. But like what we thought is like, well, maybe they'll see the level or something like that. So, sorry guys. Yes, I always got to have fans on too, guys. Thank you, Erie. I love you, Tia. No, he knows I'll kill him. Oops, I don't know if I can say that on live. But like he went and took the drug test, and then we didn't hear nothing. We figured he passed. Things were done. I had submitted like all my drug tests to show that I was clean. And like we were like, okay. So we didn't hear nothing back. It wasn't until, what was it? It was November, December, January. The end of April, I kid you not, that I get a phone call. Now, mind you, Jared's already moved back in. He's already almost completed his anger management. Like, we're doing good because we thought we were done. He took the drug test in December, I want to say. Pretty sure it was December. It might have been November even. But think about this. We didn't hear back from them until April. I get a phone call, and it's the supervisor of CPS, like this worker supervisor. And she's like, we just wanted to check up on you with a safety plan and find out what's going on. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, I didn't even know we still had a case open. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm like totally just stunned. And basically I had to get, this chick just calls me out the blue talking about she needed to talk to my mom. She needed to talk to my sister, possibly a friend if they could, because they wanted to just hear how we would have family support and all this stupid shit. And like, I finally got pissed because I was like, wait, you motherfuckers don't contact me for like months. And then you want me to jump through some fucking hoops all of a sudden, and you're threatening me to take my kids, all because guess what? When he took the drug test back in November, December, whichever month it was, it came up positive still. And I told the lady, I'm like, well, he can still test positive for up to 90 days. Oh, no, that's not true. I go, yes, it is. You need to look it up. I'm like, I went to rehab. We learned about all of that. You need to look it up. And the bitch was arguing with me, going back and forth. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, it's funny. I'm like, y'all want to act like this with me. I go, what if my children were truly in fucking danger? I go, do you think it's appropriate to fucking ghost somebody for months? Because I think it was, when I did the math, almost 6 months I hadn't heard from her. And I'm like, is that appropriate? Is that how y'all are supposed to work? And she was like, well, I do apologize. That's not normally how things go, blah, blah, blah. And just excuse. So basically after that, the worker who was under the supervisor, our caseworker, she kind of like kissed our ass and she rushed to get the case closed. But it just pissed me off because I'm just like, you know, what if my children actually truly did need help? Or what if I had truly needed help? These motherfuckers just disappeared. And I'm like, if I were a druggie, y'all wouldn't have fucking known because you waited 6 months to take me, to send me for a drug test. Yeah, they sent me for a drug test in April from a case back in October. Can you fucking believe that? And then Jared, he had to go take another drug test, which he passed. But it was just crazy. It was just so fucking stupid. Oh, I also had to prove, I had to send in all my documentation from going to rehab. I had to get a written letter from my rehab my therapist at rehab. I mean, they literally made me jump through so many fucking hoops after they dropped the ball and we didn't hear nothing from them for almost 6 months. And do you know why? The day the day that we talked to them when they called, it was the very last day. It would have been 6 months exactly to the date of our case opening. And that's why they called, because if you don't hear back, Jared had looked it up, something like if you don't hear back from CPS after like 6 months or something, like they have to close the case or some shit. So they literally waited to the very last day of 6 months of having a case to contact and be like, oh, you got to do this. And they had the audacity to be all up in arms that Jared was back living with us. And I'm like, how do you expect us to afford to have 2 homes? I'm like, we're married. We're trying to work this out. And the lady was like, well, I thought you said that you were done that day. And I was like, because at the time, yeah, in the moment, of course, I'm like, we're done. Like, this is over. I'm like, but things change. I'm like, it was just such a shit show. But I'm telling you, stranger, that's literally what happened. Let me look at this. Tammy, CPS needs major work. Yes, they do. They need so much work. That was literally just, it was horrible. And the whole thing, it was all because an officer lied and told them that I said I was an active drug user. Who the fuck's gonna walk up to a cop and be like, oh yeah, I'm actively high right now. I'm on opiates, dude. I'm like, wow. Okay, Tia. Yeah, see, I didn't know that because I thought maybe they like went through and like reviewed videos before they monetized you or whatever. I don't know. Good to know though. I know some crazy changes are coming in January too. Does anybody know what's been going on with YouTube closing down all these like small channels? I don't even know if they're channels. Oh, I tried to report the officer. I literally called the police department and I made a complaint. Wrote in a report and everything. It didn't do a damn thing. Nothing. I mean, this is the same police department that when a van slammed into my van and completely bent my mirror backwards, and we pulled off on the side of the road, and one of the people from the van walked over to these apartments that we were close by and came back with this group of people. And I'm on the phone like, hey, you know, I'm scared because I have all my kids in the car and this dude is trying to like run away from hitting me, and just, oh, it was crazy. And it took them 45 minutes to get to me. By the time they got there, Jared had already made it to me from leaving work. My husband made it faster to me than my own fucking police department, and he works in Dallas. It's a joke. This police department is a joke. Okay, so yeah, some are just normal users because Hannah B, hers was shut down too, and I don't think she had her other older account was shut down. So she was like, yeah, she said she was going to post videos now. Um, what kind of comments though? Because like I'd be making some comments too. I'm like, shit, I don't want my channel to shut down. I heard that like super mod thing is if they're like sharing like PayPals and Cash Apps and stuff like that, but I don't know. I don't know. I didn't even know that you weren't allowed to share Cash Apps and PayPals because every creator I know besides Tia does it. Well, I take that back. There might be a couple that don't do it, but most channels out there share their um, Cash Apps, PayPals, everything. Hell, you know MGL, she bitches about it. Be talking about don't send me super chats because YouTube takes 30%. Just cash at me or PayPal. I need a snack. Huh. That's weird. So I think maybe YouTube's trying to catch on with they're losing money to PayPal's and Cash Apps thing. Of course, everybody's got to get in there. Yes, Tia is one of the most honest, amazing creators there is. Yeah, but Erie, I mean, you're not a creator though. You're just a normal person. So why would that get you shut down? You're just freaking. That's so weird. I don't. I think it's really, really weird. Thank you, Care Bear. I really wasn't trying to like for real, intimidate her, but God, she gets on my damn nerves. Oh, this last week has been a hot mess on YouTube. So I figured I would tell you guys about my first. Love you, Tia. I love all you guys. You guys are all amazing. Yes, it has literally been a circus, Erie. Um, tell you guys about like my first, not my first very paranormal experience, but like my first time um, ever seen a spirit like um, in my face. Like I seen it, like I see a regular person. Um, oh yeah, you know they're going to be crying about. Um, is it against? I don't know. Is it against terms of service? Do you have Cash Apps and PayPal's in your channel description and stuff? I don't know. I don't know how none of that works. I probably need to look into it, but I'm not ever like trying to worry about money and monetization. I just want to talk to people I love and have fun. If I ever end up getting monetized, that'd be awesome. But I just really want to have fun. So my whole childhood, I can remember far back as me being like, I want to say probably about 3. Like I can literally remember having nightmares and waking up to noises and things like that. And the house that we originally lived in, where we grew up, is it was originally my grandma's house, my dad's mom, and when we lived there, I remember that I would always get drawn to the basement like the basement door. I never wanted to go actually down there. But I would always hear, living there as a little kid, I would always hear someone calling me down to the basement. And I fucking hated it. I still am terrified of basements to this day. Maybe that's why I moved to Texas, because it's rare to have a basement here. And I would have horrible nightmares. I would wake up because I'd fall off my bunk bed, and I'd scream and cry. Like it was really bad. And I remember we'd be in the living room, and like I'll never I don't know how I still have this memory so vivid, because I know I was young. I couldn't have been more than like 4 years old. But we were in the living room, and I don't remember all the details around it, but I remember the TV kept coming on and off, and kept coming on and off, kept coming on and off. And my mom was getting really frustrated. And it was one of those older big box TVs, you know, the kind I'm talking about, where you turn it on and it takes like a while to heat up and get the color going. Hell, I don't even know. It may not have even been color. It may have been black and white. Who knows? But just like the huge box TV. And it just kept coming on and off, coming on and off. And my mom finally got pissed off, and she went and unplugged it. And I kid you not, I am like, literally, I remember it to this day, and my mom still talks about it. The TV came back on, and she had unplugged it from the wall. There was no power going to the TV. And I remember all of us kids started screaming, and we were freaking out because my sister is 4 years older than me. And I remember just how creepy it would always be, because my mom would, which looking back was definitely not appropriate for our ages, but I was probably about 4, and my sister was 4 years older, so she was about 8. But my mom would leave me home with my sister alone when she would take my dad to work and stuff like that, or whatever. I don't know. The 90s were a really bad time for kids to be, I guess, trusted to be way more responsible than they should have been. But, and we hated it. Like, I just remember always feeling so creeped out. And anytime I had to go into the kitchen for something, the basement was just always, there was always something that was like calling me down. And I remember growing up, like we would hear like my mom's voice, and we'd be like, "What?" And she'd be like, "I didn't say nothing." And she would like think we were running around, or she'd bust in our room thinking we're doing something, and we're like dead asleep. So it was always weird stuff like that. And then when I was about 6, we moved to another home. This is a house I kind of really consider my childhood home, though, because my dad was still in that home until he passed away. But this house was the craziest thing. Like, it never gave me any bad vibes, but the old lady that had lived there, like, my dad would always joke around, "Oh, the old lady's still here." And I remember when we moved in, we started doing a lot of the remodeling of the house, because it was an older home. And my mom would always talk about like things that happened to her. And then like my dad would say weird things. And they would say that they would always feel someone come and sit down on the bed. Like you can like feel it. And my dad was always kind of the same, like, he doesn't necessarily like not believe, but he doesn't necessarily like super believe. He's just kind of like in the middle zone. he knew there was an old lady in that house though, because he would always joke about it. And when I was a teenager living there, I will never forget it. It was like just the weirdest thing. I was in the bathtub, and oh my god, this was one of the creepiest experiences. And he had the big clawfoot tub, so it was one of those nice and deep tubs. And I'm in the bathtub, soaking, and all of a sudden, I'm not even kidding y'all, it's like somebody gets in the water behind me, because the whole like water just sloshes. And I started fucking screaming, flipping out. My dad like is outside the door going, what? And I'm like, the freaking old lady's in here. And he's cracking up laughing behind the door. And I'm like, Dad, she got in the bathtub with me. And he's just thinking it's hilarious. And I'm flipping the fuck out, because I'm like, there's a fucking ghost in the tub with me, man. Even though that was like such a scary thing that happened, is also like funny, because I just remember my dad behind, like on the other side of the door, like, what do you want me to do? Laughing his ass off about it. So it's one of those fun memories with my dad, but like scary, because I basically took a bath with an old lady ghost. It was exactly boundaries, dude. Like, shower's one thing, but the tub, no. And the weird thing with my dad's house too is like the walls would talk. And I know that sounds freaking crazy, but oh, hi Victoria, hi my love, I'm glad you made it in. With whenever my dad would like leave for work or whatever, because once I got a little bit older, and I had Sierra was a baby, I ended up moving back in with my dad. And my dad always worked swing shifts. So sometimes he'd work nights, sometimes he'd work days. And so whenever he would work nights, I hated it. I hated being in that home alone, just because basement, creepy, being home alone, creepy, knowing there's an old lady ghost, creepy, just fucking creepy. But you would literally hear, it would be like people were having conversations all the time. And I'd hear my dad's voice, literally like he's having a conversation, and I'd hear his voice crystal clear. The energy that house kept in the walls was insane. You could literally hear past conversations. I would always hear my dad's voice, like when he'd come home and stuff like that, or he'd be like just in and out of the house for when he's off work or something. Like, I would never know if he was truly home or not, because I couldn't trust if I heard his voice, it was really him. It would always creep me out so freaking bad. I hated it. And my dad would always just be like, yeah, these walls talk, because he had heard his walls too. Like, it was the craziest thing. I wish, had I thought about it back then, I had tried to like record it or something, but yeah, I never did. But growing up, like, we always were around weird things. And my mom would always say, like, she could communicate with ghosts and things like that. And, when you're a kid, you're just like, whatever, you don't really believe your parents every time they say something. As we got older, though, we kind of started realizing, like, she might actually kind of know what she's talking about here. And she told me and my sister that, we're open to, and, we could see things too, and they're drawn to us and things. And my aunt actually like had problems with a ghost that was always attached to her. And so it's like, we just grew up always talking about these things. So it was never anything that was totally weird until like you would try to talk to other people and they'd be like, what? And look at you like you're crazy. Um, Everybody in our family knew that ghosts were alive, or not alive, like they were real spirits, and I think all of us kids growing up all had experiences with different things in homes. Uh, and we would always hear my mom and my aunt, my grandma talking about stuff. So it wasn't anything that was like taboo to us. I know. And I think a lot of that, I do thank my mom in that aspect, because I think growing up in that way, it allowed me to be open on exactly stranger. It allowed me to stay open minded to learning about things. And I love that I can sit there and I don't have to just hear something and be like, oh no, there's just no way. That's crazy. I love wondering and digging deep into things and being like, could that be really true? Or, if people only knew the shit that the government hid from us, like, y'all would be just mind blown. There's so much shit that gets hidden from normal everyday people because the government and higher ups and things like that think us normal folk can't handle it. So they hide it from us. It's yeah, it's crazy. So, Ari, when I was growing up, I had never actually seen one. I had always just felt them, or like I would see them like in my peripheral. That's like the best way I can describe it. I would always see like weird things in my peripheral or shadows, but I had never actually seen like a full like apparition in front of me. Um, I was 15, I think, when I first seen it. So, sorry, just looking at chat. I thought you might have been sleeping, Victoria. I'm glad you made it over. That's good, Tammy. A lot of people, though, too, even when they do have like little odd experiences, most people don't notice like the small stuff, or they just, a lot of times people will just try to rationalize it like, oh, that was the wind, or oh, that was a old squeaky pipe, or a lot of people don't automatically be like, oh shit, that's Bob the ghost there. So the very first time, oh, give me 1 second, y'all. Hang on, sweetheart. Hey guys, can you hear me? I switched over to my headphones really quick. I'm going to go outside and smoke and let her fall back into a sleep before I start talking again. Okay, sorry guys. I didn't want to. She's still kind of in that light sleep. She didn't even fully wake up. She woke up and she's like, "Mommy, I I want my Minnie Mouse dress. Why? I changed." I go, "What you mean, baby? You want to sleep in your Minnie Mouse dress?" "Yeah, and my bow." I'm like, "Okay, baby, tomorrow night." Because today she insisted on wearing her little Minnie Mouse dress up dress and her Minnie Mouse bow. Um, Crazy pouring rain, and there's my little princess. So she's dreaming about wanting to wear her Minnie Mouse dress in her sleep. All my kids freaking talk in their sleep, and Zach, he has the worst night terrors. But Ava and Grayson, they get like whenever they have a nightmare, they'll like stay stuck in it. It's so bad that you have to like kind of like really try like get them to snap out of it. And you have to be like, "It's mom, I'm right here." Like I'll have to grab Ava's hand and touch my face and be like, "Look at me, baby. I'm right here. You're not dreaming no more." Like they get stuck in their nightmares. I feel so bad for them too when it happens. Ooh, it sucks that it's like chilly now. It went from 80 yesterday, crazy ass tornado weather today. Did Victoria? Did you guys get any nasty weather where you are? Just reading chat. Sorry, guys. Oh, I'm sure Australia is covered in legends and like, oh, I feel like the older places, like I would love to go explore like England and the UK, but then I'd also be scared too because of how old the history is. Yeah, it's cold and rainy there too. Oh. Erie. I bet you looked freaking awesome though, Erie. It's chilly now. Like I think it's like 45 or something like that. But tomorrow's gonna be 70 again, which that's okay. Like I'm okay with it being like lower 60s, upper 70s. Like that's the kind of weather that I really love going out and doing stuff in. I don't want it hot as hell like it normally is, but I don't want it freezing cold either. Oh, here comes the car. Sorry, guys. Stranger. I know we're the only country that thinks we're so special that we don't use the metric system. Like, but really, it just makes us all look like idiots because anywhere we go in the world, we're like, well, let me speak for myself because I don't know how to convert. If I want to convert anything over to Celsius or the metric system, I use Google. I would love to have fall all year round, Tammy. I'm jealous. That's hilarious, stranger. Yeah, there's no way. I'd have to like really work hard at like yeah, I don't know. I see a temperature that's like 100 something, I'm like instantly think Fahrenheit or whatever. And like kilometers, like that always kills me. And the scooter I bought, it's originally I think it's made in Japan, if I'm not mistaken. And when I first used it, it was in kilometers and stuff. And I was like, I don't know how fast I'm going. Oh my gosh, Care Bears. No, 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 no. So basically, the first time that I ever actually saw a spirit, it was when we lived in Florida. Sierra was just a baby. She was probably like 6 months or so. So I was 15. Um, but we kind of lived in this like little wooded like alcove. There was like a driveway that led to just like an opening with a house. But we were surrounded with like woods and things like that. But I just was outside and we were kind of all hanging around and it was dark. And all of a sudden, I just turned and looked and it was like being hit with a train. Um, the emotions, I was flooded with the emotions. I felt what this poor boy felt when he was dying. I felt his fear. I felt how just I can't even describe how scared he was. Um, I felt the terror, like it covered me. I was bawling, just tears were just running down my face, um, and I just all of a sudden I seen him in a tree, and he was hanging from the tree. Sorry, guys. I still remember it to this day. Um, and I just felt everything this poor boy felt when he was hung. Just the why and not understanding it because he was the little boy. And oh, it was the worst. I just, oh, I can still feel his feelings. It was so awful. And I don't even know how long I was stuck in the trance or whatever you want to call it. But when I finally came out of it, like that tree that I had seen wasn't even on the property anymore. But I just ran to my mom and I was bawling and I was, describing to her what I seen, and she's like, "Yes," she's like, "You saw him." Um, she's like, "Now you can see," and yeah, that was my very first experience. Actually, really seeing a um, apparition or spirit, whatever you want to call it. Um, it was horrible though. This boy was probably 13, 14, and he just showed me like everything that up to when it happened. And he was just so confused. He didn't even understand why. And it was just so, so heartbreaking. Uh, and I cried for this poor boy and cried because feeling those emotions was just so heavy. Um, but he wanted me to see what he went through, and he wanted me to feel it. And that's where it's hard because I don't want to always walk around being able to feel those things. So I have to keep myself kind of closed off. Oh, hey, guys. It's okay, baby. It's okay. Hey, honey. Hang on. Give me one sec, guys. So, yeah, does anybody want to come up on panel and share any stories? Uh, I will share the link. If anybody wants to come up, y'all can share anything y'all have been through or creepy experience or anything. Just looking through chat. Okay, Care Bear. No rush. Oh, come on, stranger. You can come on. That's okay. I've got a ton of background noise too. But yeah, living in Florida, um, I think with a lot of the history, with it being in the South, with the Spanish War, a lot of the history of it is so older, and there was just so much death on the land of Florida that it was very, very just oh, so much energy and so many damn spirits. There you are, my love.
You always get me up here.
That's because I love you and I love talking to you. And everybody
Just for
else loves
you.
hearing from you too.
Just for you. I'm sorry if you can hear the construction. It's pretty loud. I don't know what they're doing. It sounds like they're digging like holes in the ground or something. Like with like I don't know, like a really big jackhammer. Imagine that.
Huh.
You can probably hear it. It's so loud. But it was
No, I
next to
really can't. So
you
whatever you're
can't?
wearing, I said I can't really hear any background. So whatever you're
Oh,
wearing is doing a good job.
I'm wearing my pajamas.
I'm met in your ears, dork.
I'm not wearing anything actually. I'm free as a bird. I'm free as a bird, but hi Harry.
I know. I love her accent too.
Ugh. It's,
I just
you
have a
guys you
boring
guys have the
American.
you guys have the accents, remember? No, I'm kidding. I'm married to an American. I'm surrounded by Americans. I love my Americans.
Jared, when he listened to the first live I did, he was like, "Man," he's like, "You got all southern up in there." I was like, "Shut up."
You do go very southern sometimes.
I
Like
don't know why. I can't help it.
I have to ask, with the boy, was he related to you? Do you think he was part of your family in some way?
No, I think he was just a part of the property, um, and he just finally showed himself. And that's what happens with a lot of spirits is they don't just like pop in and say, "Hey," they want you to know what happened to them. They want to like show that. Um, Thank you, Tammy. Right now I'm back on my earbuds, but it's just so I can move around because of Ava. But I'll go back on the microphone. I'm glad that it sounded a lot better. I
And
was worried
Eri,
about the background noise.
sorry, Eri, I'm Australian. I live in Japan though, and I'm married to an American, which is confusing.
But a lot of times, like the spirits don't just like they don't just like they want to show you like what happened to them, or there's usually like a something behind it. And when they show themselves to me, they're showing me how they died or a significant thing that happened to them. And for me, I don't just like see like what happened. I can feel every emotion. It's so overwhelming that and it took me a long time to learn how to like shut it off and kind of control it, because they used to just come at me. I've got a lot of different stories, but it's hard because I want to stay open, and a lot of times, like I said, I was like they're attracted to me, and so and they'll bug me and 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 bug me until I do open up and communicate with them and give them the opportunity to like open up and show themselves or whatever.
So you see it almost like a TV show, like a story happening in
Mhm.
front of you. That's crazy.
Oh, Tabby, thank you. Oh shit, hang on, Care Bear. Let me go back to the computer and turn it on.
I've never seen a ghost, but I've always been aware of.
There we go.
Hey, Care Bear.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can
Yes,
hear you.
we got you.
Okay, no echo.
No echo.
Sounds perfect.
Good.
Yeah, I've
That
always been. I
problem
remember.
last time.
Yeah, I remember we went on a school excursion to a place called Newstead House, which is in my home state of Queensland, and there was a room, which of course was the doll room, because it's always the doll room. It's never, you know, the kitchen or the bathroom. It's always the doll room that has to be the most creepiest room in the house. But there was I remember just walking in there and feeling like someone had played a xylophone on my spine. It was just I knew something was in there. I knew something had happened in that room. And that's always been the way it is with me. I've never seen a ghost. I can always feel things, like when we go to shrines here, or older buildings, because there's a lot of we're going through a big gentrification in the area that I live in, hence the construction. Um,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of really, really old buildings here, and people just live in them until they die, and then they knock them down and they build a new apartment building. And I'll walk past a building and I'll just feel something, just something pulling at me, like a little bit, like, just like, hey, stranger, stranger,
Mhm.
maybe you want to stay here for a minute. And it's like, no, I'm not going to stay. I can't.
You could come up on your iPhone, Aries. You
Yeah,
just
come
click
up
the
here.
link and you open it with Safari, and basically StreamYard walks you through it. You don't have to show yourself on camera or anything. You could just leave it on audio.
How about you, Care Bear? Have you had any experiences?
Yes, my friend actually. No, my dog wants back in. Like, sorry. First you wore it out, now you want back in. Come on. I'm gonna go out there and have a cigarette. And freeze my ass off. like 20 degrees outside. It's cold.
I'm so not jealous at all.
Oh, I am. I'm so jealous. I love snow. I grew up in a tropical climate, so snow still freaks me out. I still get excited. It snowed on my wedding day in Michigan, and I was over the moon. That's all I know.
Aw.
Well, if it snows in Texas, they close it.
Yeah, basically we shut down. They're like, oh my God,
They
there's
do.
powder.
If it snowed where I grew up, I think people would think the apocalypse was coming. I think the horsemen would be coming over there.
Hold on.
You really can't hear that construction.
Okay, so no, can't hear anything.
Oh, that's crazy.
So my friend, her mom would have this spirit that would follow her, and it was like, to me, it was evil. When they first told me about it, I was like, yeah, right, I don't believe you. Well, I was telling my mom about it, and she's like, yeah, I don't believe in ghosts either. Well, my aunt was telling us there is a such thing as ghosts because she lived in Guam when my uncle was in the military. And in their apartment, she'd go to bed and leave dishes in the sink, and she'd wake up and all her dishes would be done. Her house would basically be clean.
What?
Yeah, she'd go to bed with her house a
That's the kind of
mess.
spirit I need.
Right? Me too. She'd wake up and her house would be clean. She said one night she kept hearing a lot of noise, and she told them, just like yelled out, she's like, would you please be quiet? I am tired and I need to get some sleep. And she saw like this figure of a little old lady with a cane walking out of her room. And she never cleaned her house again. I was like, see, you should have kept your mouth shut. But anyways, my friend,
Crazy.
her mom would always want to get the ghost started. And we were watching TV and she's like, let's get the ghost started. And I'm like, oh, I hate this. I hated it because it would scare the crap out of me. And we turned off the TV and the remote was next to us on the couch. Well, she had two couches. The other couch was across the living room. And she's all calling it, hey, stupid, hey, you dumbass, and just calling it names. And all of a sudden I see like this shadow walking back and forth in the hallway, walking towards the hallway and then walking back and forth in the hallway. Like it's rocking back and forth in the hallway. And I'm like, okay, I'm done now because I'm getting scared. So she's like, okay. So she stopped and she would turn on the police scanner. Sorry if I'm shivering. She would turn on the police scanner to help get my mind off of it. Well, she wanted a cigarette and she needed my lighter, and my lighter was on the other couch. So I got up to get my lighter out of the. Well, I thought I saw something float across the room. Forgot to mention that part during this spirit thing. I don't know if I said that or not. Well, my coat was on the other couch, so I walked over to the other couch to get my lighter on my coat, and I gave it to her. Well, when I reached into my coat pocket to pull out my lighter, I also pulled out the remote to the TV.
Wow. So it was a one of the type of spirits that likes to move things and play tricks.
And then there was another night. I mean, the first experience was their air conditioner, they had like a wall unit air conditioner at their house. They didn't have like central air like I do. It was unplugged and it was like breathing and snoring. And then you'd hear like thumping on a speaker. You like when speakers get blown and they make that thumping, rattling noise.
Yeah.
Her speakers were doing that, and then Sarah would be completely unplugged.
Oh, that's so creepy.
The last night I stayed the night there, we kept hearing a bunch of noise. I had gone to her house to hide out because my ex-boyfriend at the time had threatened me. He said I found out he was cheating on me, so he threatened me. So I left my dad's house because I was like, they're gonna come get me. And so I went to her house to stay the night there. And her mom was like, just be quiet because we don't want her dad to know that you're here. I'm like, okay, that's fine, because her dad was really strict. So we're sleeping in the basement, and I have all books to read. I'm reading Amityville. And she was reading some like strange type of game book. Well, we kept hearing all this like thumping and banging upstairs. I'm like, God, your mom's making a lot of noise. She's like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. And I told her I need to go pee. And I could just feel somebody watching us from the laundry room area in the basement because it was like an open basement. There was like hardly any walls except for the laundry room. And
Oh, that's so creepy. I hate basements.
I had to go pee. So the only bathroom was upstairs. And she's like, I'm like, I need to go up, I need to go potty. And she's like, okay, well, she'll go. I'm like, I ain't going up by myself. You're going with me. I go, do you really want to stay here by yourself? She's like, no. And so we went running up the stairs. Well, her mom came out from behind the door and put her hand on my shoulder, and I screamed really loud because she scared the crap out of me.
Oh my God, that's cruel.
Right? And she goes, why did you scream? I'm like, you just scared me. She goes, but Shauna told you not to scream. That I was messing with you guys and not to scream. I said, no, she didn't. I said, we booked it up the stairs. We didn't walk, like, slowly walk. We booked it. And I said, what are you banging up here? She was like, nothing. You guys are being really loud. I'm like, we're not being loud. We're reading our books. And she said she would like peek down the stairs and say, hey, you fat one. Hey, you pretty one. Hey, you ugly one. She was just like saying all these things, and we never heard her say anything. We just heard a bunch of banging.
Oh.
Whoa, that's weird. So she called the spirits that live there names or something?
Yeah, she would just call him stupid and idiot and
Oh, that's a
like,
big
you are
no-no.
so mean. She was like mean. And then when they moved out of that house to their new house, all the activity had stopped. It had like apparently stopped following her, but this spirit had followed her since she was a little girl.
Wow.
Yeah, I.
Oh, bye, Care Bear.
Uh-oh. Care Bear? Uh-oh. Maybe her...
The ghost got her.
You're right. Care Bear, the ghost turned you off StreamYard.
It knows. It knows. It's internet savvy now.
It's like, no, you will not talk about me.
Oh, I don't know how you guys deal with basements. I know you don't have them in Texas so much, but the first time I was in a basement, I was just like, why do Americans build these? They are just so creepy.
Apparently,
no
we
way.
have to be creeped out.
Well, I mean, attics too. Because we don't have either of those things. Like, especially where I grew up, we grew up we have a specific style of house called the Queenslander, which is built off the ground so the hot air can go under the house.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's just
There we go.
standard, you know. Oh, there she is.
Sorry, I accidentally hit the back out button.
Oh, we thought it was the ghost.
No.
Oh, Victoria, you have a basement.
I do too. I have a basement in my house. My daughter sleeps in the basement. My oldest one.
Rare for Texas. That's awesome. Uh-oh. I have an echo.
Oh, please don't tell me it's me.
I don't think it's you. I think it's me.
Nope, it's me. Oh, I'll be back.
Oh, poor Care Bear.
Always with the echoing. Because it's the ghost. It's the ghost.
You're in, I think there's certain parts of Texas where they're able to make basements, but then other parts of Texas, it's either the sea level's too low, or it's just like the ground here is like so like clay and crack. It's very hard on foundation. So I couldn't even imagine trying to have a actual basement here, because most homes, especially with the drought, have horrible foundation problems.
Oh God, really?
Mm-hmm. Like there's people like, we have to put hoses around our house called soaker hoses, and they help keep the around the foundation kind of wet so it doesn't shift and crack.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I'm not sure. No, I'm pretty sure even down south where it's cold, there's no basements or
Try that. Yep, no echo. Good.
No, I can't.
Okay. Ay, ay, ay. So when they moved out of that house and moved into their new house, it was like a freshly built house. Like it had just been built. They had this house built from the ground up. So they think that might be why the ghosts didn't follow them. I don't know.
Possibly.
Yeah, that would make sense.
My dad's house, he doesn't believe in ghosts. He, like I told you, he's Jewish, and he does not believe in ghosts. He feels like when you die, you die.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that are like that, or they think that if you talk about spirits or things like that, it's evil and this and that. And
Mhm. When I told you about what happened with my husband, we were sleeping in the basement at my mom's house, and my husband would have nightmares of killing me.
yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how I would react about that one.
Right? Well, my dad would sit. The door is really like the carpet's thick, and so it was really hard to open and close the basement door. And my dad would be sitting in his chair, and he'd literally see the door open and close, and he's like, "Oh, it's just the wind." Like, it's not the wind, Dad. um,
Yes, the ones that make oh no, it's because of this. That's why I say a lot of people don't realize things that happen around them because they're always in that denial. And every person has the ability to feel spirits, see spirits, communicate. You just have to open yourself up. And that's one of the things I was going to ask. Like, I don't know if anybody's interested in trying to figure out how to open their energies or anything like that, but I would love to guide or help people kind of get in touch with that inner self voice, whatever you want to call it, and learn how to open themselves up more. If anybody's interested in it, we could do a series about that, and we can.
Go for it.
yeah, sounds good. Sounds interesting. But,
Because a lot of
and then
people,
there's
well, once you open yourself up, though, it's very hard to turn it off.
yeah. Well, right after my mom passed away in the house, my sister. Okay, so when they bought that house, they found out the boy had lived there before. The reason the couple was selling the house, their son had died in that house. He choked on a piece of popcorn.
Oh, I just ate popcorn.
And then
Wow.
my sister passed in that house, and then my mom passed in that house. Well, right after my mom passed away, my dad would get like these awards from work, and they're like heavy, heavy, like eagle statues. They're like extremely heavy, almost like cast iron heavy. And
Right.
he had it on the mantle. It was just one of them because he had like several of them on the mantle. But he had it, the one that was on the mantle next to my mom's urn, just like fell down and broke. Like it literally
Yeah.
broke.
Nah, see, that's not a coincidence.
Right. And he's like, nope, there's no ghost.
Maybe she thought they were just really ugly.
No, because she has some too, because they both worked for the same company.
Ah.
So she had some too, but she threw his down. And I was like, Mom's getting your attention. That's what I told him. Like, Mom's here, she's getting your attention.
I think when my partner's mother passed, it was like that. We brought the ashes back from America to Japan, and so she's here with us. And every now and again, she does things like that. Like it's 100% my mother-in-law. Like there's no way it couldn't be my mother-in-law. Just things that that she either agrees with what we're doing or she disagrees with what we're doing, like that kind of situation. And you can't ignore things like you can't ignore a cast iron statue falling on the ground. Like you can't ignore
Right?
that. That's not a coincidence, I don't think.
Yeah, definitely not.
And
There's
for it to
something.
break, it was like it's not like cast iron, but it's heavy like cast iron. That's the way I can explain it. It's really heavy. It's a metal eagle with its wings open, and it's golden color. and it just falls off the mantle and breaks. I mean, it didn't even hit the bottom of the fireplace. It like flew out to the middle of the living room. So it's
Oh,
like you
what?
can't. Yeah, it flew out to the middle of the living room when it fell, and it's like there's no reason for that to fall, Dad. Like no reason.
Did your dad do something that she might have found annoying when she was alive?
Oh,
Like
my
around
dad
the
bugged her. My dad bugged her all the time. My dad's
time?
a jokester. I mean, he's just like my husband. My husband's the same way. Um,
I think we always marry our fathers.
yeah.
Just quite.
Well, this is my stepdad, not my biological dad. But yeah, I basically married my stepfather because they're identical. They like
That's
to pick on the kids, and that's how my dad is. He's always picking on his grandkids. Like, oh,
I wonder, like your mom was definitely trying to tell you something, I think.
yeah. I don't remember what was going on at that time. I really don't. But yeah, it was like just weird. I'm like, why did that just fly off the mantle?
Sorry, guys, little one.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, that's definitely, especially when it doesn't just when you try to like recreate it and it doesn't just fall down, but it like physically flies across the room. Like, come on now.
Yeah, I like
Um,
flew halfway across the living room. It's like there's no way. It just. His explanation was then, oh, it's probably just a mouse. I'm like, you don't have mice that crawl up there.
that's funny. Oh, Tammy, that's so sweet.
Shut panel down for a little bit since it's already 2 here and little one's 6. But I'm
So
so
she
glad
could
you
call
came
me.
on, Tammy. I want you
Okay.
to come on next time
Uh,
and
no, no.
come share some
I'm not.
stories with us
I'm
or
not that
whatever.
interesting, really.
Oh,
Oh, you are.
I'm,
Stop.
you've been through a lot, and I feel so sorry that you've had to go through so many struggles with your husband's health, but I'm really glad you're in a good place with it now.
Oh yeah.
Um, I would
I've learned.
really
I've
love
learned a
to.
lot. Yeah. I know a lot about Social Security and Medicare and yeah.
Oh
So,
yeah, I'm
yeah.
sure. Um, yeah, I'd really love to talk to you guys about using your energy and light to help. Um, it's something I do when I'm going through things, and it's literally just using your own energy and your own light within your body to direct it. And I've used it for when I have migraines and things like that, but it can help. And maybe next time we go live, I can talk about it and give you guys some ways to, I don't know, start practicing or looking into it.
Okay.
Right.
That's fine.
You're
Good.
so like sweet talking, like you're so low. I love it.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I'm gonna break that shyness out of you. We are gonna get you up here and we're gonna get you talking.
Like I said, I'm not that interesting. I'm just
Oh,
Oh
old.
yes you
stop.
are. Stop.
Stop.
I'm just an old boring accountant. Nothing too exciting.
Oh, I'm sure you have so much stories and so much life experience. You bring a lot. So don't even.
Oh, she's gone. No, she's
Oh,
back.
Nope.
is she there?
There she is.
Well, thank you for having us, Rayanne.
She can.
Yeah.
She can. If you happen to talk to her or whatever, she can find me on Instagram and she can DM me. That's fine.
Okay. I'll message her. I'm thinking her phone probably died or something.
I don't. I don't.
Um,
I mean, I don't want to like give out my number on the chat, but
no, no.
You can
Uh,
put it in the private chat.
yeah, you can put it in the private chat and I can send it to her or whatever. Can you see it
yeah.
on your phone?
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
pop it
The
in the
what?
private chat, only we'll see it, and I'm not going
It
to do anything.
says.
Well,
It says chat with everyone in studio. Is that what that is?
yeah.
Yeah. That's
Oh, okay. Okay.
only us on the studio will be able to see anything. Yes. I'm gonna just once I get everyone off panel, I'm just gonna
Goes
talk
live
real
or
quick.
something.
Because I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You can put it in the private
It's
chat,
only
and then I can give it to Care Bear. Can
yeah.
you
It's
see it?
only 12. Yeah, it's only 12 here. So
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's 2:15 here. I'm like,
and then for stranger, it's tomorrow.
It is. I'm in the future. It's 4:15, so I have to jump down in a
Sorry,
second.
I dropped my phone.
no, it's okay. I have to end this, and Stranger's got to get to a meeting. But Care Bear, Tammy put her number in the private chat for you.
Okay, I'll put mine in there too. I don't know how to screenshot on this phone.
I can also send it to you if you want, Care Bear, in Facebook or whatever.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks for having
Sounds
us,
good.
Ryan. I'm
All right.
still
Thank you.
I'm still spooked out by the Goatman.
That's
We're gonna.
crazy.
It's what I'm
That
going to dream
bridge,
about tonight.
yeah, that bridge looks like the bridge from literally Beetlejuice.
It does,
So
yeah.
funny.
And Care Bear, you take care. If we don't, we'll probably speak before then, like
Oh
in
yeah.
tears and stuff like that. But
Oh yeah.
you know, speaking in voice, I want you to take care, and I'll be thinking of you on Thursday, my time, and
Thank you.
you know, it'll all go well, and you'll be out of pain, and it'll be wonderful.
Yes, I'm sending love and light and prayers to both y'all's way.
Thank you. I just want to be able to walk
Yes,
more
to
than
your
5 minutes
husband too,
Thank
without
hon.
you.
being in pain.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. I thought
Thank you.
that would be great to talk to you about this some more because
Yes.
it scares me to get another foreign
No.
object in. So
Yeah. Just it's okay. You can do this. And stranger, you can do it too. You
Yeah,
yes,
just
well,
stranger,
yeah.
that's where
you're
I'm off
doing
to now. Is
you're
another,
doing awesome.
yeah.
Realizing
And
that you have the problem and you're getting the help you need, and you made a
and
mistake falling off the wagon. You know what your triggers are. So
Exactly. I love you guys.
I'm
enjoy
I
glad
your
love
I
you
tea.
do.
guys.
Thank you,
And
thank you. I'll tell you all about it if I have to swallow a Sylvester
yes, I'm
crystal.
excited to hear about the crystals. I need to know.
I'll send you pics. I'll send you pics.
All
All right,
right.
Thank
thanks,
I
you.
love you
guys.
guys. Good night.
Love you
Night.
guys. We'll see you when on Tia's next live or when you have your next live, Rayanne.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
I'll let you
Good
guys
night,
know.
everybody.
Good
Bye,
night.
guys. Night.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I think next live we'll talk about. We kind of got started chatting after talking about Goatman and whatnot. So next live, I want to discuss how evil influences people and how you can pick up on people's energy and vibes. And there is actually a demon that kind of, gosh, how do they describe it? It's the narcissism demon, basically. But it influences people and causes them to do things. And I think a lot of evil people out there, people that do bad things, have evil influencing them. So I want to talk about that on our next live. I'm going to edit this one though, so that way when people tune in, they can kind of see the story, and we'll have our chat hidden. Once we get big enough to have a members and stuff like that, we'll do member only chats and whatnot. But I just want to say thank you guys. I love you guys. I'm proud of all of you, sending love and light. And yeah, we're going to keep growing. And I thank you guys for all of your support. Everybody have an amazing night. Love you guys. Mwah.